Welcome to Life Stuff.
Welcome to Life Stuff, where we never know quite what life is going to throw at us. And we like to record episodes like that.
And this just could be one of those.
Yeah.
And I was really going to say to you, what do you want to talk about? But a word came up and
Hmm.
and we've probably talked about it before. But the word is unknown.
Hmm.
What do you think about that word? And do you think that's something that applies to, I mean, I know it applies to a lot of people out there.
I would absolutely say it applies to me right now. Not necessarily a scary way, although I'm sure some people find that feeling scary. I would have once upon a time been more scared about feeling unknown about something, but now it's unsettling at times, exciting at times. Um, I get a little angsty at times, like impatient, not knowing what the unknown is, knowing that I really can't do anything to rush the things that I want to figure out. Like small little example, but not, it's not, I'm not anxious, but I am impatiently trying to figure out how to notate through software now, not handwritten. It's annoying because I like want to get there, or I just want to figure out how to do it the way that I know is going to work best for me. But that's going to take some time to figure that out, which is just a process. That's like low stakes.
Well, it's interesting. My first reaction to that was, well, that's not really a big deal.
It isn't.
Well, but then my second thought was, there are different forms of the unknown. There's your daily unknown, as simple as what am I going to do today?
Hmm.
Or in a task, which is what
Yeah.
you described, right? But you know me, I go to the other extreme.
Hmm.
For me, the unknown is much bigger and much more all-encompassing, and it's really like about my life.
Right. You're thinking macro more so.
I'm
Like
thinking
macro
macro
for your life.
for my
Yeah.
life. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not micro of like a day necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
And this has come up many times in my life, and then it's become clear, and the next chapter unveils itself. But this one is requiring a lot of faith and trust, which I'm very up and down with.
Hmm.
Um, it could require some work on my part, but I'm not really doing it.
Right.
Um,
What do you mean by work?
well, work on like, meditating more,
Right. Grounding yourself.
grounding myself, reading more. I'm telling you, it's kind of scary, fascinating when you start looking at stuff on Instagram, and then the algorithm, whatever happens, all of a sudden it's like post after post after post. And I started following this guy who posts this interesting stuff, and it's really all about what I'm going through. It's like, well, how the fuck do you know like that this is what, It's because I'm looking at it. And so then it knows that I'm looking at this stuff. And it's saying about trusting. And the big the big message is, this is all happening for a reason. Something is coming, something big is coming, something big is coming. And all of these things that are happening, the losing of friends, um the boredom, just these
The boys.
the void, the things that are leaving my life, and particularly the big one was selling my condo here in Puerto Vallarta,
Yeah.
which was a huge. surprise to me that I went through with that. And so it's like it's almost like everything is I'm being like cleared away
Hmm.
for this whatever this new thing is. And like you, I'm not patient. And it's like, okay, I need if I could just sit back and relax, trust, and enjoy this, you know, enjoy this period, then it would be a lot easier.
Hmm.
But when it's something big like this, like I don't know, am I going to be traveling? Am I going to be staying in Toronto for an extended period of time? What's going to happen with my mom? I mean,
Yep.
all these things, these are big things. So that's the word that came up for me, and it's really big for me right now. So it's interesting when I asked you, it was a day-to-day thing for you, which is which is valid. It's completely valid.
And
People,
it actually is a like it affects me in a different way, but just as much because it's such a focus of my life right now, the music and figuring it out, that it is there's a like a daily level of excitement and frustration because I know what I have to do. I know I have to figure this out, but that requires patiently sifting through the program and even picking the right program. There's many you can choose from.
but in your case too, okay, let's take that a step further. Like the more of the unknown is, what are you going to do with this? Well,
Truly, and how do I use it? Because
right.
that's unknown to me. Like, and I'm gonna figure it out. I know that, but so will you.
But
You
but but
will.
but do you know where you want to go with this? Like, do you know, I mean, we know what you do in your daily life, but is there something like, do you know what you want your life to look like in 5 years?
I think that the music has created a big, vast unknown about where it's going to take me because I have shifted my frame of mind, even why I'm in New York City. It was I came here to be an actor and to model and to build a career as a performer, which I am in the process of doing still. It's not like I've just like stopped doing those things. I'm going on a modeling gig tomorrow. But the focus is the music, and even the dreams that I have feel very unknown in terms of, okay, I'm writing this piano music, but I also have the ideas of if I'm going to write music for film, it's not going to just be on the piano. It's going to be multiple instruments. It could be orchestration, and that feels very big and unknown as to how you even do that. But the seed of it has been planted in my own composition. So I know it's possible. It's just the idea of actually doing it. It feels so daunting that I don't think I could. It feels like something I will just attempt to accomplish for the rest of my life, if that makes sense. But that doesn't mean I've set it as my career. Like, what if it doesn't make me money? Then I can't just do
But
that.
this was my point. Like, I mean, some people know exactly what they want to do, where they're going, how they're going to get there, and don't even like the unknown is not even a part of their thought or their world.
Yeah, I
But
guess I know what you're saying though. It's not unknown to me where I'm heading, but it is unknown how I'm going to get there. So that is a different feeling because it sounds like for you, it's unknown even where you're heading.
right.
And I would say my sister and I have had discussions like this before because she never has felt the same motivation that I've always had to like head in a direction. She has headed in directions before, but not with the same like vigor and like knowingness. So that I think you're on to something, that those are different types of unknown.
Yeah. Yeah. At least you have a direction.
Hmm. So what about being directionless feels? a certain way to you? Like, does it make you feel anxious? Does it make you feel depressed? Does it make you feel like, how does it make you feel to feel that way?
Honestly, it changes from day to day. I think that if I continue to focus on my belief in the universe, then it makes it a little bit easier. It's
Yeah.
just sometimes when, you know, things are constantly not working out. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with being in a place where you really have no idea what your next step is? What I'm trying to say is when you make the decisions, if you believe in your gut, and this is what I keep saying to people when I try, which comes with a lot of fear, but you can't just sit around doing nothing. You have to make decisions.
Mhm.
I think it's just be aware of the signs. And like I said earlier, it's just so crazy that these messages that come up on Instagram like daily,
Mhm.
and it's all like trust. Trust that all of this is happening for a reason, that you are basically clearing out your life for something new and something big is going to happen.
Yep.
So, but sometimes that's hard, especially when you're not patient. So,
And it requires a level of discipline and diligence in your day to day, because in the day to day is where you can get into the grime of the feelings of impatience, of anxieties, of like it's in the moment that you're like, oh, I want it to be solved already. And it doesn't, that's just not the way life works. So that's where, you have to build your own system of grounding, because I've been thinking about this too. Like, what are the ways that I ground myself when it feels like everything's shaking or not stable? And that is so personal to you, but it requires you to figure it out, because in and amidst these changes, which are inevitable, as we talked about last week, change inevitable. um how do you hold yourself? And it's a mix. Like, for me, it's a mixture of things. It's conversations with my friends, it's conversations with myself, it's even work helps ground me. Like, something stable in my schedule helps ground me to some degree. um
uh,
Therapy helps,
yeah.
whatever version of that you're interacting with, or some sort of self work that you're doing.
But I also think even if you don't do any of that, be okay. Be okay with where you're at right now. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Mhm.
And what is happening is exactly what is supposed to be happening. And so that's what I would say to people. In the meantime, while, you're trying to figure something out, be good to yourself and do the things that, even if it's just one thing that you know that you really like to do.
Exactly. Watch that show you really love to watch, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It could be anything. But yeah, I think I really also like that you pointed out that there's no, like, the judging yourself along the way is never helpful. And I think you get to reassess, like, what is that judgment for? Who do you think is judging you? And if you're judging yourself, why are you judging yourself? For doing the best you can.
Yeah.
And that best you can is a goalpost that changes daily. It's
Yeah.
not something, and yes, reach for, yes, maybe you'd like to read. I'd love to be reading a little bit more. I'd love to be diving into my DJing more, maybe even drag a little bit more, but it just doesn't feel like the right time. And so I'm not beating myself up about that, but I'm noting that it's on my back burner. It's something that I will put more time into eventually. What feels like the most authentic input of my energy right now, for me personally, is the music. I
Well,
don't even know where that's taking me, but it feels like I need to trust that instinct. And you, to your point too, you trusted the instinct of selling your place, knowing that there was some reason to clean house, to prepare for whatever was next, because you had opportunities to change that choice and you still did it. So there is absolutely something greater going on here.
yeah. So my last point I'd like to make about this is that I would also caution to, there's no real time limit. Like, is someone going to be in this place for, a week, a month, a year?
Mm.
You know, what you want to guard against, that's what I'm saying to people, is just be careful not to allow yourself to be in that place for too long,
Yes.
because then it's very hard to get out of. And then it's like, okay, now you're in this trap and you're in this hole.
It doesn't mean it's a simple task to do it, but I think we've talked about this before, like emotions are meant to be felt. And so, yes, like you said, you don't want to wallow in them for too long. You don't want to let them snowball into something that they're not, but to not let yourself feel them also, I think, does more harm in the long term anyways. So it's about finding safe ways to express those emotions, whatever they are, and then let them go. Like,
If you're going to feel sad and down and lonely and all of that,
I mean, those are valid emotions depending on what you're going through in life, but to stay there is not accurate. Like, as in, there are so many ways to look for happiness, joy, more uplifting emotions that you can create for yourself by doing something that you love, whatever that is.
yeah. When you get yourself in that space, maybe in that lower space, just really try and trust that something is coming, you know,
Mhm.
that 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 this is all happening because it's preparing you for something that's coming. I Whether it's a new place you're going to live or a new job or a new relationship or even just a new relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. I don't know if that, in conclusion, what we talked about in this episode was, the word unknown and the different uh, variations of it, or the different Justin is in a uh sort of a more practical state of unknown.
Mhm.
Mine is more of a larger life
Yeah.
unknown picture. And so, you can be in anywhere in between. And as we always do, we talk about how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? And that's what we did. So, if you listen to the episode, hopefully you'll get something out of it and help you with the unknown
Because, yeah, that's just a part of life.
stuff.
That's the part of the life stuff. You can't outwit life. She's always she's always at the she always has the reins.
And I think the unknown is just a very big part of life.
Yeah.
Some days more than others, some more uh larger, some
Mhm.
just daily stuff. So it's a very interesting word.
Yeah.
And when we started this, I said, that's the word that came to me this morning. And as Justin and I often say, most of the time we have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, and then sometimes we just go off on a conversation and it happens. But this time we talked about the unknown. So hope you watch
Yeah.
it. Hope you like it. And See you next week.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.
And I have a cock sitting on my shoulder. See?
I truly thought somebody was about to enter the frame. And we were going to merge your past life and your present, and you're filming a My Naked Kitchen episode.